What's poppin', y'all? I'm here to talk about the GOAT, Cyclizar, man. I love this guy, he's so cute. But before I talk about all of these changes, which might look crazy out of context if you're a new viewer, speaking of, if you are new to my channel, shout out to you. I appreciate you clicking on this video. Don't click off. I know it might be a little rambly. Maybe it wasn't what you were expecting, but I think if this sort of thing is even somewhat interesting to you, stay a while, maybe pause the video if you're new here, read the description. I have a bullet point list of all of the key points about how this hack is balanced to explain and give more context to all the craziness going on your screen right now. I have tons of videos explaining it if you don't like reading, but I mean the bullet points are pretty easy to follow, I would hope. Obviously, you know, it's a lot of them, but it's not actually that bad to just skim over them and understand, you know, the basics of the hack. So give that a read. I have other videos going over every other Pokemon change. I have videos going over every move change. I have a giant Google Sheet link down below. Everything is organized very thoroughly. I have all the move changes organized into categories. Everything that you could ever want is in the Google Sheet and in my Discord server and on my YouTube channel. So give all those things a look, subscribe if you're new. Also leave a comment down below once you're done with the video. That being said though, yes, Cyclizar the GOAT. Sick. I mean, he's actually the only Dragon Normal type in the entire hack. Because stuff like Drampa isn't in the game and is not other Pokemon that makes sense to be that type. But Cyclizar, the GOAT, I love this guy, man. He's got so many cool tools now. Obviously in vanilla he always had the coverage, he was always more of a mixed attacker, but obviously in this type of ROM hack, you're gonna want every Pokemon in this game is very versatile, pun not intended, has tons of new tools, a lot of them can be used, you know, offensively or defensively, and they can fit all sorts of roles, and that's all to play into the Teamlocked, which if you're new here, you don't know what that is, again, pause the video, read the description, there's a little section explaining what Teamlocked is if you're new. But yeah, ability choices, pretty reasonable to me. I mean, a lot flavor-wise, I mean, he's like this kind of jack-of-all-trades type of Pokemon, I guess, so giving him, I feel like because he evolved from Koraidon in theory, and then will eventually evolve into Miraidon in theory. Of course, that's not exactly how paradoxes work. I know it's more to it, but just in theory, because he's got that relation to these other two Pokemon, I think giving him adaptability and versatility fits really well. And also, I think it just really fits his like vibes of the type of Pokemon he is, his design. He's like a very generic, you know, he's like an all-purpose like lizard ride Pokemon companion. So I think adaptability and versatility make a lot of sense. I don't tend to give these abilities out willy-nilly. I think I'm usually pretty stringent, is that the word? Strict, I guess? I'm usually pretty strict with like the flavor of those abilities, but I do definitely see it on Cyclizar. So of course he still has Regenerator, and he has even better bulk now. And again, in a ROM hack like this, you might think, well, why would I ever want to use Regenerator now? You know, he's got so many offensive tools, why would I ever bother with Regenerator? And the answer is, I mean, outside of the obvious shit, like obviously Shed Tail is still very good, in-game especially. I believe with Shed Tail, it's 33 from regen and 50 from Shed Tail, so you're only dealing, can I do math in my head, dude? Jesus, 27? No, that's 60. 17 doesn't feel right, but yeah, no, it's 17. You're only taking 17% per Shed Tail, roughly, if my math is correct. So that's very little, of course, and of course you can offset that in game. You also have Molt for reliable recovery. That's bug type recover, although I also give it to reptiles. Jesus, I can't speak. Reptile Pokemon. He's also got good utility in the form of Baton Pass and U-Turn before you get access to Shed Tail. Not to mention you might not always, I mean, first of all, U-Turn is good for damage and also good with versatility, but also you might want to, you know, get a slow pivot with Baton Pass. Meanwhile, Shed Tail is obviously going to be typically a faster pivot, although with 0 speed EVs, you can definitely still underspeed things and run max HP, max defense, Regenerator. And in general, it's just a great pivot, great utility mon, got tons of other cool stuff like Taunt and, you know, all these other good, useful things that are good in-game. Stuff like Knockoff, not as big a deal in game for utility, but you know, Acid Reflux, guaranteed poisoning and dropping Spell Death, Glare dropping attack, special attack, and paralyzing. Cool stuff like that is very nice with Regenerator for sure. So definitely a useful ability to use once in a while, especially Breaking Swipe as well. That will drop attack and special attack by -1. So yeah, tons of cool utility options with Regenerator and your utility move pool. And then offensively, he's obviously the GOAT now. 95-95 looks underwhelming. Oh, also I didn't address this yet. The BST. Well, if you're new here, the 551 might just look really high in general, but obviously if you're returning and you know how the BST thresholds work in this game, 550 is like normal to you. But 551 might irk some people. Honestly, I just really did not want to do -1 speed. That's literally it. I think he's a very unique, like one-of-a-kind Pokemon. Again, being this weird, like, ancestor related to these two box art legendaries, so I think giving him a unique BST is okay. Obviously it does break the conventions in this hack, but you know, even in Sweltering Sun I would have some random flavor BSTs, like unknowns being 201 because it's a, you know, number 201 in a deck. Same with Shedinja, his matches his dex entry as well, a dex number. So I think stuff like that once in a while is okay. It does, I'm not gonna lie, yes, it is irking me looking at that 551 as well, but I think it's unique, and I really just did not want to do -1 speed. And then I think ruining all the other stats, because 80, 80, 90, 80, 80, 80, 95, 95 is super satisfying to look at as well, so I really just didn't want to touch his speed to make it 550, so that's that. But yeah, versatility and adaptability. So again, with that infinite ability, the ability to infinitely swap between your abilities. God, I need to figure out a better way of wording that. But the ability to change your abilities whenever you want, right? You can just pick and choose the higher damage of adaptability or the versatility of versatility, right? So if you want a specific coverage move, which again with Move Relearner, versatility becomes insane. Obviously it is Gen 9 Protean size versatility. It works like Gen 9 does it. So God, I can't word things today. It works like Gen 9, meaning that you don't get stabbed for every single move, you get stabbed for the first one, and then you have to switch out, or you stay that type, which first of all isn't a bad thing, especially in-game when, you know, a lot of teams will be monotyped or whatever it is. But I mean, in general, a lot of the time you're getting a kill and switching out, you know, or you're stalling something out and switching out. I mean, and with, what I'm trying to say here is, like, it's not really a downside, and if anything, you could use it defensively, because you can stay that type and counter something specific. But in general, I mean, it's still a great ability. You got tons and tons of great coverage. All of these moves are buffed and changed in some regard. There's tons of new ones. You know, you got Mud Bomber, which is like special ground type surging strikes, can't be used twice in a row, always lowers speed. I mean, there's all types of crazy stuff this guy can do. You've got all these other great coverage moves: Thunder, Hydro Pump, Fire Blast, Flamethrower. Even the Fangs are like 75 base power, so you've got like Ice Fang, because Ice Spinner is now 60 and boosts speed by 1. Ice Spinner and Flame Wheel are the same thing, roughly. I mean, technically Ice Spinner also removes terrain, but that's, yeah. Flame Wheel, Ice Spinner, both 60 base power, plus 1 speed, so those are more for, like, you know, niche situations where you aren't fast enough to outspeed something, which is, it will happen every once in a while, especially because in-game you're not guaranteed that plus speed nature. Meanwhile, the AI will typically have the plus speed nature on faster Pokemon, so you might want that plus speed. However, for speed later on, you have stuff like E-Speed and Draco Jet. As you can read on the screen, Draco Jet is a two-hitting. It's two-hitting because it comes from Dragon Darts, and I wanted Dragapult to still have that like cool little two-hit Draco Jet type move. However, other jet-themed Pokemon and Cyclizar get it. So Lottie Twin, Scarchomp, and Cyclizar. And obviously Cyclizar's adaptability. God, I can't talk, bro. So that's hella strong, as you can imagine. I mean, 105 power priority. It is already a very fast Pokemon, which is why it's a pretty early move, relatively speaking. 52 is not actually that early, but if you look at the level cap guide, you can see, you know, level 52, you have a good amount of boss fights left at level 52. So you can still get a lot of uses out of Draco Jet. Very, very strong. Of course, E-Speed is very strong as well. It's weaker than Draco Jet, but number one, it's a different type, so that's always going to make it useful. And you can also use it together with Draco Jet, because Draco Jet can't be used twice in a row, so you can alternate moves. Or you could just click Draco Jet and switch out. You know, say for example you're running, the reason it can't be used twice in a row, same with all these Wicked Blow type variants, is because I don't want people running choice items and then being able to spam it. So if you run, like, for example, Scarf, Temper Flare, in this case, this is only great move I can think of that I see. You know, Choice Scarf, Temper Flare, I don't want you to be able to click that twice in a row. I want you to have to switch out, because there's no other drawback, right? It can't miss, it doesn't deal recoil, nothing like that, or it doesn't drop your stats. So that's the drawback. You can't use it with choice items very easily, and in general you can't click it twice in a row, but that's not really a huge downside. It's just something you got to prep around. And for example, in Draco Jet's case, you can't just, you know, Unga Bunga Banded Adaptability Draco Jet. You'll struggle to death. You'll kill yourself if you try to click it twice in a row, basically. So, not literally kill yourself, but I mean, odds are the Pokemon in front of you probably will be dealing a lot of damage to you, and then you know, are gonna take struggle damage too. So it's not a good idea. I mean, maybe in some situations you could, but in general, Draco Jet with Band means you have to switch out after. E-Speed, however, Banded Adaptability E-Speed, you can actually click that a bunch. So you can run like max HP to switch in better, and then E-Speed and maybe get like 2 kills and then switch out, you know? So that type of stuff is super good as well. He's also got, again, tons and tons of coverage. I'm not going to list every single one here, but you guys can look them all up if you want to see what they do. Most of them, a lot of these are just like higher base power type stuff, like Sludge Bomb, Energy Ball, Rock Slide. None of them can miss, really. The only moves that can miss are Fire Blast, Hydro Pump, Thunder, Focus Blast, Triple Axe, Gum Shot, and that's it. So everything else here is 100% accurate, as far as I can see. Yeah, and Power Whip. That's another one I missed. Power Whip. So all of those require wide lens, but everything else 100% accurate. And of course, you're fast enough to actually be able to abuse wide lens. So you can use like wide lens, hydropump, fire blast, triple axle, whatever crazy versatility moves that you want to run, you know, and run that with wide lens. So that's super, super fun. God, this guy's got so many cool tools. I love him. I chose Headlong Rush because he's a bike. You know, he can dive towards you, charge towards you super, super fast, which kind of equates to power in my eyes. So I feel like he definitely fits Headlong Rush when he's driving, at least, or rolling around or whatever. Although I know he's running technically, but you get my idea. Yeah, Spin Out is good with versatility as well because it's strong coverage, and then of course gives you that +1 speed to then use other moves after. So like you could run wide lens plus all those coverage moves at 6 badges, or even these other. I mean, again, it's always situational. You have the prep to switch your moves constantly versus the AI, so you're going to be taking advantage of all these moves really, depending on the situation and your other team members and the route that you're taking, because there's 5 different versions of the game, so tons of factors that go into it. But yeah, Eject Pack plus Hyper Beam, Giga Impact, and Draco Meteor is sick. Hyper Beam and Giga Impact function like Draco Meteor now, so that's incredible. Very fast, you know, you can get a kill and then switch out. That also works really well with Regenerator as well. So, and again, there's such strong moves that you probably won't even need adaptability boost some of it sometimes. So you can run like Regen, Specs, Hyper Beam, or Banded, Giga Impact, or Specs, Draco Meteor, whatever. Get 1 kill, switch out. Whatever, you get the idea. It's very strong. Double Edge, very, very powerful with adaptability. Spammable as well. You can run it with Shell Bell if you really don't want to take any of that recoil, but the recoil is pretty easy to offset in a game when you have all of that foresight with prep and knowing exactly what's going to happen for the most part, because again, it's versus AI. So yeah, Takedown, Play Rough, Wild Charge, Health Rest are also all 100 base power, 20% recoil moves, so those are also pretty cool. Also Power Up is super early, 35, that's pretty cool. Cool little move. Coverage early on. Obviously you've still got Energy Ball and Grass Knot and stuff for grass, but you get the idea. Yeah, I mean, he's got tons of other things I'm not even mentioning because there's just a lot to talk about, and a lot of it is pretty self-explanatory. You can just look it up and see what that move does. I mean, yeah, coverage, adaptability, nuke, very versatile, very bulky, regenerator, pivot, Shed Tail in-game. I guess I can talk a little bit more about how Shed Tail would work in-game. Also Shift Gear. Shift Gear gives +1 to both offensive stats now, so that makes him great with the mixed attacking stuff. Obviously +2 speed at 121 is overkill, but you can run like max HP plus Shift Gear to get the Shift Gear off safer, and you can run a boosting item, and then you can kind of go crazy. Like you could run like Shift Gear, Shell Bell plus like Double Edge or whatever, you know, shit like that is pretty cool. Not to mention other mix sets with both Hyper Beam and Giga Impact and Draco Meteor, like you can run, because Hyper Beam and Giga Impact are 150 still, and they can't miss. Draco Meteor is 140. Hyper Beam and Giga Impact are unique in the fact that they're 150 power, and you know, that's super cool. So you can use like both of them because you're so strong as a mixed attacker and you're fast. You can really go crazy with your coverage and your stab. I mean, this guy's goated. I love him. Yeah, I think basically everything. Last thing I'll mention is that Shed Tail in-game. I mean, it's definitely very good. If you outspeed, you can get some frailer Pokemon in safely for only 17% of your HP, which again, in-game, you can also just regenerate that back by pivoting around on resistances, which you have a good amount of as a Dragon normal. You're not only do you have the Ghost immunity, but you're also immune to the, you know, Elemental, Fire, Water, Electric, Grass. So tons of ways to get in easier and get your Regenerator back up to full. And you can just keep Shed Tailing around into frailer allies to enable them, or you can do slow Shed Tail, again, like I said earlier. You can even do like some weird tech with like Lagging Tail, you know, it's sky's the limit with Teamlocked, right? There might be some situations where you unironically really need that slow Shed Tail, but min speed isn't enough, and so you need to go for, you know, Lagging Tail or Iron Ball Shed Tail, and then you take the hit, and then you get your Pokemon in safely with the substitute intact, so that's very good. Very easy move to abuse versus AI. I put it early because I do like the support-oriented Cyclizar, and I think if it was too late, you would be leaning more towards non-support earlier on in the game. Not to say that, I mean, you would still be using support stuff because of just Regenerator being a good pivot in general, but yeah, that's the beauty of the game. You can use your Pokemon in all sorts of different ways. So yeah, thank you for listening. I could talk about more, but again, I trust that you all can read and look into things yourself. Appreciate you all listening, and I'll be back for more coming up. Peace. Leave a comment if you made it to the end, by the way. Shout out to you if you did. Appreciate you very much.